want to separate two different things. On one hand, you have media figures or public figures who have one job and one job only. It's either to report the news, or if they do op-ed work or columnist work or analysis, they're supposed to give their point of view or their analysis on various issues. Then there are the voters. I want to be clear that we're leaving voters out of this conversation, okay? We're gonna focus specifically on media figures like Brian Stelter. So, following the Supreme Court's ruling to essentially avoid blocking Texas's anti-abortion law, which bans abortion past 6 weeks, effectively banning all abortions because most women don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. All of a sudden, Brian Stelter is changing his tune and he's deleting some old tweets that were, minimizing the fear that people had in regard to Donald Trump's presidency and his ability to appoint and confirm 3 Supreme Court justices. So back in 2018, he had responded to a series of tweets from Amy Siskind, where she wasn't talking about abortion, but she was talking about how the Trump administration was essentially engaging in anti-immigration policy in an incredibly harmful and draconian way. She wrote that Border Patrol has set up checkpoints on Route 95 in New Hampshire and Maine and are asking people, what country are you a citizen of? We're a few steps from the Handmaid's Tale. And then she also writes, when Dems take control of the House and hopefully Senate, one of the first things we need Congress to push for is the dismantling of ICE, being used now as Trump's Gestapo. Now, Brian Stelter responded to that and essentially made it seem like she was being hysterical. We are not a few steps from the Handmaid's Tale. I don't think this kind of fear-mongering helps anybody. Now, I wish he was a little more outspoken about the fear-mongering that takes place in regard to, the threats abroad and how we need to engage in forever wars. But it's okay, he doesn't like this fear-mongering, so that's fine. Now, people actually went back to that tweet today, and he decided to delete it. That tweet was still there on Wednesday, according to the Internet Archive, but has since been deleted, simultaneous with the Supreme Court's 5-4 decision not to block a Texas anti-abortion rights law that effectively guts the protections of Roe v. Wade. So there was one other tweet though that he didn't delete, and it gives you a sense of how he consistently minimized the fears that people had in regard to the Supreme Court. He wrote, I cover media. I've been working on a CNN documentary about Trump and TV. I interviewed one of the Handmaid's Tale producers for the doc, and I've talked to TV critics about this broader issue. I don't think it's an opinion to point out that America is not Gilead, nor is it close. Texas has effectively banned abortion, and they did that with the help of the right-wing Supreme Court. And I remember a lot of people in the 2016 general election minimizing the impact that Donald Trump would have on the Supreme Court. Now, I'm not talking about conservatives. Conservatives love this. I'm talking about Democratic voters, specifically those who have become nihilistic and don't think, and look, voters are one thing, but people who have influence, media figures who do analysis, those are the nihilistic ones that I think need to take accountability for the fact that they were wrong. When they minimized the impact that Trump would have on the Supreme Court, they were wrong. When they were mocking Democratic voters who might have supported Bernie in the primaries, but then said, all right, I have no choice, I gotta support Hillary Clinton because that is the lesser of two evils, they mock those people and shame those people. And so I just wanna know, are they ever gonna take accountability for the fact that they were wrong? Are they gonna turn around now and say, hey, you know what? This is literally my only job, I don't do anything else. I sit my ass down on a chair and I opine on politics all day as if I'm some sort of expert and I got this wrong, I got it wrong. Let me admit I was wrong, because that's what credible people do. Are they gonna do that? No, of course they're not. I'm gonna give you other examples in just a minute, but Cenk, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, so first of all on Stelter, look, I'm glad he deleted the tweet because it was wrong. And there's nothing wrong with admitting you were wrong. I mean, he hasn't said it
He hasn't admitted he's wrong, that's the problem.
And no, I get it, but Only reason in my mind to even bring it up is because that kind of don't offend Republicans. Oh my God, they could be just as right as Democrats. Maybe women shouldn't have rights, right? And that's the mainstream media 101. And I've lived with it my whole life, where they're like, what the Republicans do in taking away rights, not a problem. When you criticize them too much, that's against beloved bipartisanship, and we can't have it, okay? And so that's when Stelter will yell at you, and he's not alone. He's just the representative in that case of mainstream media. Everybody yells at people. When you point out corruption, you should see it. They go nuts. No, our beloved politicians don't do it. Don't say that about them. So now we turn, but we're equal opportunity critics here. We turn to the, whatever they're calling themselves these days, the extreme left, the alt left, the weirdo left, whatever they are, which is mainly right wingers, but their audiences. I don't know if they still think in their mind they're left wing, but anyways, the people who said, Anna's reference there is to, voting for the lesser of two evils is still voting for evil. Dun, dun, dun. No. As if that's some sort of brilliant intellectual point. You guys are hilarious.
Except it's not a brilliant intellectual point. And look,
it's a point as simple.
For individual voters, vote your conscience, okay? Individual voters, first of all, Hillary Clinton did not lose the 2016 election because of Bernie supporters. Let's be abundantly clear about that. This conversation isn't about that. This conversation is about influential people in left media, okay, who completely minimize the importance of the Supreme Court. And now for the rest of our lives, we're gonna have to deal with a right-wing Supreme Court that can strike down anything, really. I mean, we're gonna fight like hell to get Medicare for all, but if it gets challenged and it makes its way to the Supreme Court, what do you think this pro-corporate conservative Supreme Court is likely to do? And one of the people who I remember very clearly minimizing the importance of the Supreme Court, both before and after Trump got elected as president, was of course Jimmy Dore, who's terrified of debating Sam Seder. And when you watch this exchange, you'll understand why.
I mean, except for Hillary Clinton and the Supreme Court. We disagree 100% on that. And I think that if Donald Trump is president, it's way worse for the Republicans. And if Hillary Clinton is, I agree with Chris Hayes when he says Hillary Clinton is good for the Republican Party and Donald Trump is bad for it. I agree with him.
I agree with that too. But in the meantime, we have a Supreme Court that is going to be moved to the right for generations. In the meantime, I disagree with you on that. I mean, you haven't given me an argument that rebuts what I said. That the Democrats could easily filibuster any bad appointee, and they could say, "Hey, until you give us someone as good as Merrick Garland, we're going to keep filibustering this." And all we have to do is do it for 2 years. And my proof that they could do it is that the Republicans are doing it to a guy like Merrick Garland, who they already said they like, without batting an eye for a year. So I just disagree with you on this, Sam, on the Supreme Court. I just disagree. And what about when Justice Breyer or Justice Ginsburg pass away or retire?
Yeah, I mean,
so they're going to filibuster. They're going to prevent 2 vacancies from being filled. And then you think, based on that in the context of American society as you know it, without a presidential election going on, that the Democrats are going to retake the Senate, even though they have twice as many people up for re-election?
I mean, Sam, did you think that Hillary Clinton was the stronger candidate than Bernie Sanders against the Republicans?
No.
You didn't? You always thought Bernie Sanders was a stronger candidate than Hillary Clinton against the Republicans?
Yeah. I mean, particularly against Donald Trump.
Oh, I thought I had you on that one. God damn it.
Now, is Jimmy Dore going to turn around and say, you know what? I totally underestimated the impact that Trump would have on the Supreme Court. Of course he's not. And that's his only job. That's all he does. He doesn't write any new jokes. He's told the same microwave joke about his family for like the last 10 years. All he does is comment on politics, and he does a terrible job, and he'll never take responsibility. He'll never admit he was wrong. Another one, let's go to Brianna Joy Gray, who responded to an NPR Politics tweet by saying, you guys are 100% wrong on the importance of the Supreme Court of the United States in support for Hillary Rodham Clinton, okay? Bunch of people were commenting in response to that tweet from 2017 just last night. She deleted it. Cool that she deleted it. Will she now admit that she was wrong about the impact that Trump had on the Supreme Court? Will she admit it? Of course not. Of course not. So while they're turning around and they're mocking people for voting their conscience in the general election, they also, by the way, claim that they're being vote shamed. No, we're not vote shaming you. But if you get your analysis wrong, can you just please have a little bit of respect for your audience and admit to them, hey, you know what? My analysis was not on point there. That hour-long debate with Chomsky, turns out Chomsky had a point. I don't know.
Yeah. So Jimmy, I think later in that conversation said something about, the chances of them, the Republicans being able to confirm 2 justices is the same as the moon falling into Lake Michigan. Something along those lines. You can see it, it's all over the internet. Oops. I mean, but look, think about how puerile that is, right? So you don't think the Republicans can confirm Supreme Court justices? Which planet do you live on? They wound up confirming 3. Oh, that's never gonna happen. Why would it? Because Jimmy's theory, I guess, was that the Democrats would fight hard to prevent the Republicans from confirming justice. Have you met Democrats? You claim that you're so tough on Democrats that you know how weak they are, and you thought they were tough enough to block Supreme Court justices from the Republicans? Oh my God, that means you know nothing about politics, nothing at all. And so Joy Gray there with, it's no big deal, the Supreme Court, people are gay. No, you're all wrong. You'll never admit it because it's about your ego. It's not about the facts, it's not about policy. And so, look, for the people that keep saying that simpleton line of voting for the lesser of 2 evils is still voting for evil. No, what that is basically intellectual cowardice. You're saying, I don't want anything on my hands. I know that there's the only 2 people who can win in a general election are Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Everybody knows that. If you don't know that, again, then you don't know anything about politics and you're deeply embarrassing. Go become a plumber, okay? You're dentist, whatever, go find any profession you like, but you don't know anything about politics, retire. Okay, so since you know Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are the only 2 people who could win, especially on election day, it's not like Jill Stein made a big run or Gary Johnson, here he comes. No, you knew there was a 0% chance anybody else could win. If you're in a swing state, and there I disagree with the voters, I don't mind calling out the voters. By the way, they're just like Republicans. Their feelings are so tender. They're like, you guys are evil for voting for Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, you're evil. And then you go, well, I actually think you made the wrong decision. I can't believe you're vote shaming, you're shaming me, no. Well, the Republicans call us evil, you call us evil. The minute we push back a little bit, you're in a corner of the room in a ball, fetal position. They said I voted wrong. Well, you did, and you got it all wrong. We lost the Supreme Court. By the way, again, we're not saying it's just those folks' fault. It's Hillary Clinton's fault that she lost to Donald Trump. We're not the mainstream media. We recognize what actually happened. But don't come around here and say, we screwed it up, but we're gonna blame you because you voted for evil. Shut up, grow up, okay? And stop being a coward and make a decision. Don't go, I didn't vote for it. I ran away, I'm the best, I'm the winner. I'm gonna judge you guys. Nah, I don't think so. You can piss off with that. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.